Arriving one scorching hot day at the small town of Cascade, Idaho, I stepped out of the van with all 6 feet and blue eyes myself, awkwardly, of course, because of my lankiness, and I just sat there in amazement and looked around at my surroundings. Not only was I in the middle of nowhere, but I also loved it. A lot of me has changed since then. I started to learn what it meant to be part of a community by sacrificing my needs, figuring out what I say actually does affect people, and through this I was able to help the well-oiled machine that is the Alzar school run. Upon arrival, I thought I knew it all, honestly. I was cocky, hyperactive, and a legitimate jerk to most everybody. Not to say that I'm perfect now, because still have a long way to go, but I feel that through this leadership school, I have greatly improved as a person. The first thing I had to learn when I got there was respecting other people's privacy, and just staying in the back and learning when I thought that I was the best at something. On our first expedition, for example, down the Salmon River, I was thoroughly depressed with the quality of the whitewater. This stayed the trend pretty much for a long time, until I really got the message of what Alzar was. I wasn't signed up to be a pro kayaker. I was signed up to improve my leadership skills in the outdoor community. Nevertheless, going from class 4 and 5 tricky boating in the southeast to gentle, easy wave trains wasn't my ideal vision of fun. Either way, I learned this wasn't going to be a pro kayaking school. Instead of showing off to everybody how good I was, I took a backseat role as more of a teacher and a leader with my experience in that field. Through this and many other things, I was able to become a better member of the community by thinking of myself less. My biggest flaw or speed bump that I came upon this semester at the Alzar school was my inability to watch my language. Almost every day, even twice a day, I did something nice or something intellectual that made people think that I was a good person. And then even more often than that, I would just throw it all away on a constant basis by saying the first thing that pops into my head on impulse. Sometimes this could be funny, but most of the time it was inappropriate and offensive, and I wouldn't even realize it until a couple minutes later, and of course, I was too late. A good story that shows this is a time back in September when I wasn't minding my own business and looked over the shoulder of one of my dear classmates, Charlotte Duncan. I saw a post on Facebook from a girl that I found very feminist and insulting, saying something along the lines that men are evil by taking women's holy virginity. Of course, that's completely appropriate and it's her opinion, but I said something about how I was wrong and stupid and acted like a small child that didn't get his way, and completely offended Charlotte and legitimately made her cry because, as it turns out, I didn't know the full story. That girl had recently been sexually abused. Needless to say, I felt bad, and I wish I could take back what I said, but I couldn't. I got in huge trouble and was even put on a disciplinary contract upon my wrongdoings. This was pretty much my life. It was pretty much my life until it actually got serious, and I wasn't changing my actions. People started to legitimately get mad at me because and offended to the point where they didn't want to be near me. It took a while to figure it out, but it wasn't until the incident with Charlotte and me being on the brink of being kicked out until I started to show real improvement. And that was my aha moment, when everything just started to click. The gear started turning slowly but surely. I was improving. Then wham, the next thing I knew, I was on a plane home to Atlanta, getting kicked out of school for drinking the local Chilean liquor. This really hurt me, but in the end, it only made me grow more. It took a while to learn my lessons from Alzar, but now that I'm home, sitting on my couch, I feel like a tremendously better person. When I came to Alzar, I was legitimately a cocky bastard and a bad person. Now that I'm home, living a less stressful life, having time to think about my actions and my experiences, I can genuinely feel myself being a real person, to put it bluntly. I'm noticeably more courteous, genuine, and all around nicer and more pleasant to be around. How can I prove this? I can. I think you'll just have to see for yourself. But am I still that 6'2" tall, gangly kid that arrived in Cascade, Idaho that hot summer's day? Of course I am. I still like to mess around, I still have a playful spirit, but I've embraced the good in myself and I've tried to change for the better and learned how to be part of a true community. And although I was kicked out, what matters is that I've learned. I've taken this experience and turned it to a positive instead of a negative. So what does this mean looking forward and how I live my life? Well, obviously it hasn't made anything more clear to me, and no decisions are made easier for me, but I will live my life with a more pleasant attitude going forward and just try to be the guy that not only people like to be around, but want to stay around, because I don't like to let people down. Thank you.